and loving yourself, treating yourself with the same love and kindness that you would treat your best friend. We don't always do that, right? We always hold ourselves to a higher standard.
It's your birthday. Not sure what that means? Let us introduce you to this powerful concept and our community. We are Helene and Christina, and our mission is to empower, teach, and remind women to celebrate themselves. Combined, we have over 35 years experience as therapists in private practice. But we come to you not as your therapist, but rather two women in this life stage with you, your friends. Our podcast promises to talk about the hard or uncomfortable topics in a way to empower you, laugh along the way as part of healing, and find joy in life. What sets us apart? We leave you with gifts each and every episode. Now that we are friends, let's go ahead and make this official. We would love to help you start your Thursday mornings, so make sure you follow the show wherever you listen and sign up for our free newsletter at yourbirthdaypodcast.com to receive the episode in your inbox weekly.
Welcome back to It's Your Birthday, the podcast that celebrates you every single day. If you're new to us, we would love for you to join the party of your life. Today, we're talking about one of the greatest gifts that we can give ourselves, the gift of finding who we really are. And I'm thrilled because I get to reconnect with someone that I haven't spoken to in 35 years. I am confident, friends, by the end of this episode, as you continue your journey with our future episodes, you will also picture our guest sitting with you and cheering you on. Melissa and I went to high school, and both of us attended University of Florida. Our paths went in different directions after graduation. She relocated to Atlanta, and I went to grad school. I will be honest, friend. I really think it was me who lost the connection. I was allowing life to be too busy, and the continuation of doing all way too much back then, trying to be perfect, all the unhealthy crap that I did decades before that I've shared with you in past episodes. Melissa made a post of herself, and she was glowing with a smile. She raised her hand up, and in the caption, it said, "I've been missing who I once had been, and I finally have found her again." And that was 1 year ago, friends, October of 2024. It spoke to me, and it made me think of all of you in our audience. I reached out to her with the hope that she would gift us a little bit of her story of refining herself. She responded immediately. Thank you so much, Melissa. I'm grateful you're here. I'm excited to see your smile again. So friends, get cozy and get ready for this incredibly special conversation.
Hi, Melissa. We are so excited to see you, and it's great to meet you. I would love to learn more about you. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are, what lights you up, and why you instantly said yes to come on the show to chat?
Sure. I know it's always hard to describe, like, who am I? I'm a woman, a mother, a sister, a friend, a lifelong learner, and an avid reader. Why did I say yes right away? I think that we all look to figure out what makes our life matter.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, purpose has always been a big thing, and significance and coherence. And so for me, I always look for opportunities to make a difference. When Helene reached out to me, at first, I was like, "Whoa, what am I going to say?" But I think then, having this opportunity to make a difference, share what I've been through, hopefully be a supporting role in someone else's life, any little advice I can possibly give, I'm grateful for that.
Love that.
So I have to go into your post immediately. As I shared, your wording and your smile stopped me in my tracks. Like literally, I was just scrolling one day and I was like, oh my gosh, like, look at her. No, it's a beautiful compliment. It stopped me in my track, and that you had gone on a journey of finding yourself. And that phrase, friends, is so incredibly powerful. I'd love for you to share, in whatever way feels right to you, what does that mean to you then and now?
Yeah, for sure. I think that in my entire life, I never really looked really closely at myself in the mirror, if that makes sense.
Mm.
And I know now, I mean, you only know what you don't know, right? Like now I realize that I never really understood who I was and really what made me me. And I think, we can't change what we don't understand, basically. And so I did a lot of self-reflection and, really took a look at myself and thought, what is it? What are my values? What are my aspirations? What do I want to do with the next half of my life? Well, maybe not a full half because I just 53, positive confidence about that. But I feel like I wanted to understand myself. And you can only do that by reflecting on who you are. I feel like our world, constantly bombards us with external stimuli, whether it's expectations from people in our work life, expectations from family, seeing what other people are doing on social media. I feel like we're constantly being sort of pigeonholed into something that we maybe aren't. And I think self-reflection really helped me. It was almost like a compass to get me back to my true north.
Mm. I love that. Was there a moment or maybe a shift for you when you realized you were needing to find the path back to yourself? Like, what was there, like a big moment? Was it just kind of evolution? What happened?
I had a forced reset in May of 23. My husband and I separated. I still call him my husband because technically he still is. So we haven't even filed yet, but we've been living apart since October 2 years ago. This was by far the hardest time of my adult life so far. Felt like I had a huge crack in my heart, my head, my stomach. It was the best diet ever. I think I lost 20 pounds in like 3 months. I gained it back, thank God. I was looking unhealthy. But, my entire world was changing and it was so scary.
Mm.
I always looked at my future as being full, growing old with this person, and suddenly it looked empty.
Mm.
And, I think that the other part that was really interesting for me or shocking was I had always grown up. I'm a single mom, just like Helene. And so, we were always taught, be independent, have your own thing, you never know what can happen. But when that did happen, even though I had always had a successful career and, felt like I had things to fall back on besides being a wife, it was a shock.
Mm.
And I became really assured of myself. I didn't know who I was. My confidence had gone down. And I was empty, literally empty.
Yeah,
So
it
that's
sounds
really
like your
hard.
identity had shattered
Yeah.
and you had to figure it out. Like, who am I now? Yeah. I love women who come into my office at that stage.
Mhm.
Like, I get like excited for them. Like, okay, first, we need to process that grief. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not gonna ignore that, but I'm like, you get to paint your life however the fuck you want. And that's incredible. Like, once we can get through that shock and grief and sit in that space, like, you now get to be like, you get to grow up to be whoever you want. And not everybody's given that opportunity in life to get to do it again the way they really want with thought and intention. I
And I
love
think when you're going through it, like we never picture that we would get to meet maybe the woman that you are leaning into and growing into, and that relationship that you're building with her now. Like you may not have had the opportunity to meet her. And then when you look in the mirror, whenever, like Christina, if you know our story, Christina lost her two best friends, her mom, her mother-in-law. I had to look in that mirror and not know who I was when I went through cancer a couple years ago. And I don't know if I would have met who I am now, because the version of me now is nothing like. I look back at me in high school, I'm like, oh, poor girl. Oh, were you just struggling?
I do the
You
same.
know? Golly, like the version that people saw was just someone who was like, how do I get through this life? And I think we go through that like in different stages. But when you have a breakdown, to have a breakthrough, it could be magical and difficult.
Mhm. It can. It can be both.
It can be both.
Absolutely.
We love the word and.
We love the word and. We talk all the time in life about and. When you do or, you like pigeonhole things.
Right.
You can do and is like a spectrum. It's beautiful.
I agree. I agree.
We love it.
So now Christina, like she promised, she's like, okay, Helene's going to get us back, but we could keep going, but we won't. We'll come back. Were there any smaller steps that perhaps you tried before the trip that you took away with your sister? Was there something in particular, if you feel comfortable sharing, that led you to go on that trip? So were there stuff that you tried before and you're like, oh, I'm still feeling something probably internally that didn't work or that helped lead you to go do this bigger thing, if it was as big as I experienced it, or you did, to me saying it?
I don't know if I would call it small steps. I would call big steps. I had really hit rock bottom, like really bad. I think right before this was my birthday, my 51st birthday. So it was, I knew that I didn't want to die, but I didn't know how to live, if that makes sense. And so I literally hit rock bottom and I thought, I can't do this by myself. And my friends and my family are not capable of helping me, even though they tried so hard. And I thank them every day for my village for sure, but I needed help. And so I found an incredible therapist here in Atlanta. I started seeing her once a week and I did homework. Which, a lot of people like go to therapy, they say, let's chat. I'm like, no, I need to figure out how I can help myself because this is not who I am. I'm a shell of myself. It's really the only way I can describe it. I was like, everything in my light that I've always had was like gone. It was really strange. And so I had this incredible therapist. She actually specializes in MBT. I don't know if y'all do that, if that's your specialty or whatever. But for those that don't, it's called dialectical behavioral therapy. And basically, when I went through this DBT, I almost felt like it should be taught in the schools. Like nobody has these skills. Like I never learned this stuff. Like, and so, I did my therapy. I ended up doing, I call it like summer camp. I went to a DBT boot camp here in Atlanta where I went for 4 weeks every day, all day. It wasn't really like an outpatient, type situation. It was more like, it was almost like doing summer school. So, I did like every week was a different mod. Every week was a module and, learning how to self-regulate and learning, just emotion regulation was like a huge deal for me. I don't think I ever knew how to regulate my emotions. Ever since being a child, I don't think I was ever blame anybody. I just never had the tools. And so that was really kind of a big deal for me. Was getting for sure.
I love that. That's huge. And I think, yes, I mean, Marsha Linehan is the founder of DBT. And there's all these lovely acronyms that I'm sure you learned. But what's the amazing thing about it is exactly that. It teaches you how to regulate your emotions. It teaches you kind of how to take yourself out of the equation rather than constantly assuming everything is about you. And when you can learn to do that, life is such a calmer, more confident space because you take back your power.
It's totally empowering because you're not waiting for someone else to not rescue you, but to take care of you, to see you, to give you the script, to give you the tools. You can go inward and say, I got this. Mm-hmm. So it's truly like, you know how to be within you and you celebrate it each and every time. Yeah.
I love that. And through your work with therapy and DBT, how did kind of refining yourself change how you showed up in relationships, work, daily life? Like, what did you see in that evolution of yourself?
So from a daily life perspective, it taught me to take time for myself, things that I needed in order to be the best person that I could be. And, listen, I was one of those people that, I worked 14 hours a day. I embraced the fast-paced modern life. I mean, I was it. Like I operated on hyper speed. If someone asked me to volunteer, I was like, yes, I will do it. But I felt like for a long time I was on autopilot, if that makes sense. And so I really learned to slow down. So every morning I have a routine that I do. It's just for me. And I love it. I mean, I wake up, I drink a giant cup of water, I make my coffee, I listen to, I don't know if y'all know Jay Shetty, but I listen to the Daily Jay and I take this, I meditate, I read, I make a gratitude list, and it's not 3 things. I mean, my gratitude list is grown to probably 30 things every day, and it changes depending on what it is. One of my things today was I'm grateful to get to see Helene today, but it could be little things, electricity, running water, a dishwasher, having healthy food in my refrigerator, that kind of thing. So, that morning routine is super important to me. And I also feel like I've really embraced like slowing down. I mean, that has been huge. I used to feel guilty if I was reading or relaxing or just not doing. It was almost like a badge of honor to be busy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a second, like, this is my life. Like, if I want to just chill out for 45 minutes, no one can tell me not to. Like, I'm allowed to do that. I never thought I was allowed to do that. In my career, I'd always flown under the radar, where a lot of people will, write their awards down or things like that. I mean, I've always been one that's been a little hesitant to do that in general, even though I've been extremely successful for a couple decades. I will say that. But I think for a world that always, I don't know, I feel like they pride for, like, people put a lot of priority on external achievements. And I think what's happened to me with this whole situation is I've started to look at inward success, inward self-reflection versus like the outward signs, if that makes sense.
I love that.
I know she's one of us. Okay.
No, and that's so just like aligns, Helene, exactly with both of our stories and our experiences. But like life
Yeah.
can force you to just stop.
Yeah. If you don't listen to the messages, something's going to take you out of life.
Yeah.
So if someone was listening to this right now and may feel a little lost, which the three of us have kind of shared, we have that in common. We've all experienced that. What gentle or maybe not so gentle first steps would you suggest for them? Because their path might look different than yours, different than Christina's, different than mine. But if you were to sprinkle a little bit of wisdom, which it sounds like you've invested so much to have in yourself, what would you maybe give them?
I think the one thing that we need to always remember is that, okay, so when I was living with my husband, my future was sort of mapped out, right? I saw the future, growing old together, all that sort of thing. And that might be one example. But other people might have a career where things are changing and they, it's starting to look different than maybe they thought it was. I think what happened with me, what I would say to people is, even if the future looks different now, there was never a guarantee that it was going to look the way that you thought it would look, right? I mean, for my own situation, there was never a guarantee that we would stay together for the rest of our lives. There was never a guarantee that either of us would live a long life. I mean, there's so many things out there that we just don't know. And I think what I would say to people is live for the moment. Every minute we have is precious and important. I learned to live in the present. That has been huge for me. I think part of it was because I was forced to, because I didn't want to think about the future. And I maybe didn't want to think about the past because that, made me a little sad. And so I thought, okay, if I could just think about what's happening right now, be mindful of everything that I do, whether it's enjoying my coffee every morning and like I use my fine china for my wedding to drink my coffee every morning. It used to sit in a cabinet with dust on it. Okay. But I'm like, I have this. I've had it for 30 years. Why am I not using it? And so I've learned to really celebrate every moment. I don't multitask at all anymore. At all.
Can you talk a little bit more about that, what that looks like? Because I think that's going to be like a stop in your tracks.
That's a stop in my tracks for me. Like, tell me.
Yeah. Everything I'm doing now, I'm doing with intention. So whether it's making my lunch, whether it's drinking my coffee, whether it's my yoga practice, whether it's combing my dog, any of those things, I do one thing and that's it. If
Wow.
I'm talking to a client, I turn off my phone, so it doesn't ring and beep in the middle. If I'm creating a trip for people with work, I focus on what I'm doing and that's what I do. If I'm reading, I read. I don't, watch TV and eat dinner at the same time. I literally don't multitask. And I think being present, even though I know everyone can't do that, it's been really a big deal for me. It's been a life changer. That and my gratitude practice, I think, are the two main things that would be the first things that I would say to start with.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I wrote your gratitude practice down. My sister-in-law gave me at Hanukkah, Christmas, a calendar that's a gratitude calendar to write one thing a day that you're thankful for.
Mhm.
And I will admit, in my true fashion that I get distracted in life, I will sit down and write 6 days worth at a time. And then it sits there and then I go back and I'm so it's like my Saturday morning ritual of oh, what happened each day of the week that was a really good thing.
Yeah.
But it's been really inspiring and helped me to stay positive. Right now, we're going through my dad's having some health issues and he's 89 and it has given me a totally different way of handling it and grieving because I can feel grateful for what we have versus when I lost my mom and mother-in-law pretty much back to back. I just went down this hole of feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a life changer. I love that you gifted that to our audience because absolutely the gratitude journal is huge. And I think as we're walking into the season of Thanksgiving and people love to do November, one thing I'm thankful for every day, which is great. It's a great start. And I think it needs to be a daily practice. It's not just the month of November.
100%. I mean, and you can do it the one thing that I've learned is that you need to do what works best for you, right? And so for me, my mornings, I do better with a slower morning. So, I'm probably at my most productive later in the day, just that's the way my rhythm works. So in the morning, when I sit down and I'm, able to just sit down and really only takes a few minutes. And you have to figure out what makes sense for you. For me, writing in a book isn't my thing, so I have literally in my calendar an alert goes off that it's time to do my gratitude. And I put it right there in the notes. I'm like, wait, that's just what works for me.
Yeah,
So everyone needs to find what works for them.
absolutely. Absolutely. I have a patient who actually dictates it into her phone to work because that's what works for her. But yeah, I mean, it can look different to everybody. And I always say, you can package it differently, but it still has the same importance to you. I love
Absolutely.
that. Oh my gosh, such a powerful gift. My next question is if you could wrap up your journey into one gift tag, oh, I love this question. What's the gift you've given yourself through finding yourself? And what I mean by that is what do you see that you have gifted yourself through this evolution of you?
It's hope.
Mm,
Hope.
love that. Can you explain?
Yeah, that's powerful.
So hard to explain. I think that, looking forward to potentially what the future has for me and all the positive things that are happening around the world right now. And just, I feel, I guess the gift of hope is just because I didn't have it for years, being hopeful and being excited about the future, that's doesn't come naturally all the time,
No.
you know? And I'm not sure that I ever had that
Mm,
before I did all this work on myself, really. Before I
yeah.
looked at the mirror, I looked in it's funny, when I first looked in the mirror, I was like, God, this is it's dirty. I can't even see who I am. I can't see my reflection.
Mhm.
And now I look at it and it's crystal clear, and I have hope and I have confidence, and I'm excited about the future, and I'm grateful for what I have in my life. I don't have to run away from it anymore, if that makes sense.
I love that.
I think it's beautiful.
That's incredible. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
This is our hope for every single person in our audience.
Yeah.
We want them to have this incredible flow of joy and hope. Not to say that life is still throwing you things at times, right? You
Yeah, right
mentioned that
here.
you're not even officially divorced. So we know that there's still tribulations, and we can choose to look at the good. We can choose to see the positives. We can choose to see every day as a sunshiny day if we choose. And that power of choice is just incredible.
I always think to myself, you're going to let somebody else make you sad. Why are you giving them control over your life? Your life, you're the main star,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. I say that all the time. Nobody has control over you unless you gave them the power.
Right. But I think a lot of people don't realize that. And then once you say that to them, it's kind of like what you said, why are you going to let someone else make you sad? And I'm like, if here's you, they don't have the power to make you sad. They say something, you're sad. That's yours. But when you say that out loud, then people are like, oh, you're right. I could have been sad. I could have been angry. I could have been confused. Right. They don't get to do that. And with you, you get to have change and movement. And you don't identify where you had agency over yourself. You feel stuck in the woods versus what Christina just said, you can see the light of change and hope like you share.
Right. And emotions, the other thing I've learned is emotions, there's no bad emotions, right? It's just how you react to them. So if you are feeling sad, feel it. There are days, listen, everything is not perfect. I'm not sitting here saying that my life is, a cloud with silver lining all the time. There's still the cloud. It's not like pure sunshine all the time. But I learned that if I'm sad and I cry, that's okay. That is my own body's physical response to feeling whatever it is that my body needs to feel and my mind needs to feel. If I'm feeling anxious, then that's okay. I can just sit down and breathe or meditate or do what I need to do. And, that's the key, right? To be able to figure out all your feelings are valid, all your emotions are valid, figure out how to regulate them so that you're not acting like a total lunatic, right? To the people in your life and around, and just having hope for the future, and just that. I guess that's really what it's all about, right? Is living for the day.
And I think the beautiful thing that you're also saying is that when you accept and you learn to be with your feelings, you remove any possible judgment, whether it came from you or passion that could have been given to you or taught to you about feelings. So there's no judgment. You're just allowing yourself to be in a relationship with your feeling at that moment.
And loving yourself, treating yourself with the same love and kindness that you would treat your best friend. We don't always do that, right? We always hold ourselves to a higher standard, and it's important to give yourself grace, I guess. Would that be the word?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes, the same grace you give to others, you need to give to yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's been 1 year since that trip. And I know you sprinkled in a little bit about routines that you have now, but do you have any additional routines or habits that maybe you haven't talked about, that maybe that as we're talking more, that you could sprinkle in or just share with our audience that have helped you feel more grounded and keeping her, meaning the you now?
I think that the last thing I will say is, I know we've talked a lot about emotions and, the mental side of it. I have found also that the food that I eat, moving my body every day in a way that feels good to me, has been really helpful. And so I don't know if this is true, or if it's the, pseudo effect. I'm not sure. But, if I'm having a tough day, if I make myself a beautiful meal and treat myself well with healthy food, and, maybe do an extra half hour of yoga just in the middle of the day, or get outside and walk, or, go lift weights for 10 minutes. Like, it doesn't have to be a long time thing. I find that that's really been very helpful for me, for my physical abilities, and the way I treat myself is helping. It's kind of like the whole thing, right? It's almost like everyone's on these, diets and, I don't know, taking these pills and shots and stuff. And I have no judgment on that at all. But it's like, take away the one thing that still love doing is like eating good food. you know, I mean, I love it. Like last week I baked challah for the first time on Friday night.
Oh,
And I've never done that from scratch before. And I'm just like, oh, give this a shot. But yeah, I do things for me now, like whether it's eating well, exercising. From a spiritual standpoint, I light Shabbat candles every Friday. I'm Jewish. I light Shabbat candles every Friday night. It's just me and my dog.
that's
So,
awesome.
but
Well,
yeah,
it's not just you. It is me.
well, it's me. Yes, it's me.
Right. And I think that goes like back to Helene has shared several times a beautiful story of a client who makes herself a beautiful lunch every day because she would just go through work and like not eat all day. And one
Yeah.
of her healthy change routine was to create a really nice lunch
Yeah.
with, a nice napkin and everything. And she sets it out and like creates a beautiful lunch throughout her day.
I love
Right.
that.
My very good friend who sounds like one of us. I met her, fell in love with her. I'm like, I'm girl crushing on you. She reminded me of like Monica on Friends. Like everything was labeled. I was like, you're my girl. And went through her own life transformation, and life took her off for a little while. And she was like, I'm done pouring into everyone. Like, I'm not doing all the things, but yeah, kind of like your coffee in China. She's like, there is no reason why my lunch can't be beautiful. And I want to stay eating my beautiful lunch. So yeah, that's why I
Yeah.
like breakdowns can lead to amazing breakthroughs.
They do. Oh, yes. Oh my gosh, this episode is like full of so many amazing gifts. But what do you hope people take away when they get to hear your story?
If there are people that were where I was 2.5 years ago, I probably up until a year and a half ago, and they're going through a situation where no matter what it is, where they're feeling like things are just never going to get better, because it really does feel like that a lot of time. To just know that it's not, people don't just say that. It really is true. You have to do it one day at a time, and you have to do it sometimes 1 hour at a time. And just, if you're going through a hard time, whatever that might be, whether it's your personal life or health, work, anything, just realize that if you just take it one step at a time, and even if that just means getting up and making your bed and eating that day, then that's enough, right? That's enough. And get the help that you need, because you can't do it alone. You shouldn't try to do it alone. And I think that's the big things that I would take away.
Mm.
Yeah, Christine is always great at sharing us. Like, we're not meant to do this. We're built for community and villages.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes, we are.
So if finding yourself was a journey with stops along the way, where would you say are experiencing yourself where you are right now? The beginning, the middle, or closer to a new chapter, or are you already at the chapter?
Yeah, I'm definitely in the middle. Like, I'm not at the beginning. I feel like I have the tools now that I need to be everything that I want and what I want from life. I have that part down, goals that I needed. And now I'm just I'm still trying to figure out exactly what it is that I want from life. And I may not have that all figured out ever. I might be a work in progress for the rest of my life, and that is okay. And I accept that. So I don't think I'm ever going to be at the end of my journey. I really don't. I think it's just going to continue, and because we're human, so we change, and we're not the same person that we were, 5 years ago. We may not be the same person we are, 10 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
Just, we have to constantly look in the mirror, right? We have to constantly reflect on ourselves and kind of figure out what it is that makes us happy and joyful.
I love that.
And Christina, like,
This is what we want for everybody.
I
Like,
know.
we just want all women. I mean, we don't want women to have tragedy, right? Like, we don't wish that upon our audience and, to have the heartache. But when you look at what absolute beauty can come out of a desert,
Yeah.
is just exciting. It's joyful. It's like, I just love seeing the evolution when people can come to the point of acceptance and grief and get to redefine who they are. I just think it's such a gift in life when you don't have to trudge down the same crappy path and get to redo it
Yeah.
your way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So empowering.
It's my life.
It's your life. You get to choose it. No one else gets to live it.
Right.
Only you.
It's exactly. It's like it's your birthday.
That's right.
Which is kind of where it all came about. I was like, well, if the world tried to take me out, and I'm like, I'm still here. And I realized for decades, I was doing what I thought I should have been doing, or scripting to me, or like where I played a role earlier on in my family. I'm like, oh no, I'm going to figure out what I want. And I have to be okay with it, because no matter what then other people say, it's coming from me.
Yeah.
And that's exactly like what you're sharing, you did too. So to everyone listening, we hope you remember finding yourself is not becoming someone new. It's about returning to who you've always been, or maybe igniting that spark that needed to be lit. What a gift worth giving yourself. Melissa, if you do want people to follow your career on travel, please share where they can find you.
My Instagram is @travelgirlmal. That's probably the best thing.
Awesome.
Thank you for gifting us your time and encouraging us all to explore ourselves a little more deeply and definitely intently. I hope we truly keep connecting. Friends, hang out with us on social. You can find us on Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. We have our gifts from the couch each and every Monday. Christina and I go back and forth. And if this story and this conversation is really resonating with you, and you're like a hell yes, you're absolutely going to want to check out what's dropping from Christina and I on December 1st. It's truly a course about finding yourself. It's a retreat for you. So stay tuned. So until next week, friends, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.